What is going on, everyone? Hello, and welcome to the stream. Ladies and gentlemen, today is May 1st, 2026, and you know what that means. Today is the anniversary of my most embarrassing moment ever. 10 years ago, the fappening was happening right here, right now, on this very stream on YouTube. Let's do a recap of what happened a decade ago, okay? And what ended up happening, if you remember, was there was a day when I turned on that dashboard, had the PS4 dashboard going, okay? And I happened to be doing something right here. Of course, it wasn't this chair, it wasn't this camera, it wasn't this desk. All this equipment is different. The only thing that's the same is the room, okay? But I just happened to be doing something on camera that I didn't realize the camera was on. Now, I want to clarify, because people have talked about this for years and years and years, and so much lore has built up around it, and so much, quite frankly, misinformation, that I want to clarify the situation. And some people have said, oh, top 10 stream fails on Twitch and this and that, and it's all bullshit. Like, it wasn't broadcast to a wide audience whatsoever. So the misinformation that, oh, DSP, he broadcast the fappening in front of thousands of small children is all fake. It was like 20, 30 people who were actually there live. Now, the thing is, there's always been people who stalk me. So in this case, there was someone who actually recorded it, and that's how it got archived, okay? So, FYI, okay, there was no sound whatsoever, and so what people saw was me having a little happy accident, inadvertently streaming it in front of like 30 people on YouTube. There was no sound, but all you ever saw was this and my O face, essentially. That's it. Nothing else. So anything else you've heard is a complete lie, all right? There was no accidental exposure. There was no sound effects with it. You didn't hear anything, nothing. That's it. That's the truth of the matter. It lasted, what, a minute, 2 minutes? And then when I realized what was going on, because I turned and I looked and I saw the chat, and the chat was reacting and saying, what the hell was he doing? And then I looked at, oh, and my reaction was this, oh, the camera was on the whole time, huh? And then basically I just went forward and pretended like none of it happened. I go from this incredibly embarrassing moment, I completely play it off like it never happened. I ignore anyone talking about it in the chat and end up having people banned for talking about it. That's pretty crazy. To think that I just went right forward with it and just pretended like it never happened for that one stream, okay? Now, obviously, we all knew that wasn't going to fly because, like I said, sadly, my detractors went ahead and clipped it and uploaded it a million places. It became a meme. So, knowing that it was going to be all over the internet, all right, there was a couple ways that I could handle it. Number one, I could just continue to play it off like it never happened. Now, obviously, that was going to take an insane amount of ridiculous ignoring and effort. You knew that everyone was always going to pester me about it forever, right? Option number two, I could just completely quit streaming. Just give up. Say, forget it. It's not worth it. There was no way I was going to quit YouTube as a full-time YouTuber and go get a 9-to-5 job that was going to pay as much as I was making. So I ended up doing option three, which was basically owning up to it, memeing about it, laughing about it, and basically making fun of myself for quite some time, which is exactly what I did. I actually changed my Twitter avatar, because it was still Twitter back then, to the meme of Prince Adam from Masters of the Universe with the rainbow background, and he's doing his face, oh, like that. But because of the way that I handled it, because I laughed along with it, because I memed about it, it ended up not being so bad. And to this day, 10 years later, through all the trials and tribulations I've been through, the ups and downs and all the mistakes, you know, I've been through a bankruptcy. I spent money on mobile games. I begged, okay? All the horrible things that people talk about that I've done on the internet. By far, that moment, the fappening 10 years ago, was still the most embarrassing moment that I've ever gone through. I mean, here I am a decade later, right? I am a successful, full-time live streamer, partnered both on YouTube and on Kick. I make bank streaming on both sites every single day. At 44 years old, I have a better physique now than I had since my early 20s, okay? It's fallacy. It's fantasy. You're cracked. Your head is broken. You need to go get examined. You need counseling, and you need help. To this day, people still come by and bring up the fappening from 10 years ago, to which I'm like, yeah, it happened. Big deal. I don't care because I'm here 10 years later, a survivor. For example, this guy says, you did not handle it that way. You asked Machinima to DMCA all the clips. Completely and utterly false. Okay, so that is actually one of the big misconceptions that we had back then, is that people were like, oh, people were posting up the moment, the fappening, and they were getting copyright takedowns on YouTube. That had nothing to do with me. What ended up happening was, back then, if you don't know, I was partnered with Machinima. They were my partner network on YouTube. That's how I was able to monetize my content through YouTube. Okay? They, without even speaking to me, went out of their way to start doing stuff like that without my permission. Now, I think that's underhanded and messed up, because who's going to get the flack for that? Me. I'm the one who's actually going to take the negative attention. They're a big corporation. They don't care. But I'm the one who gets yelled at, right? So what happened was, they contacted me, and I've shown the emails before. I did a special over on my DSP Reacts channel a couple years ago where I went through my history with Machinima and how they definitely mishandled things with me. And that was one of the times when they decided, oh, we're going to take matters into our own hands, and because you're our partner, we want to hide this. So they actually started taking down people who were reposting the clip. I never said to do that. I want you to think about this. If I had absolutely admitted publicly that all this happened, if I was joking about it, if I changed my Twitter avatar to be Prince Adam with his O face and all of that, why on earth would I tell Machinima to DMCA claim people talking about it and take it down? I never did. They actually emailed me after the fact, like a day or two after it happened, and said, so we're just checking in to see that you're okay, and just so you know, we're starting to take down videos. I was like, whoa, what? I was like, I didn't tell you to do that. You know, like, I can't stop you. You're my partner network. You know, I can't stop you as a company from doing it, because technically they owned the rights to my videos. So they had the right to copyright claim people if they wanted to, because legally I had a contract where they could do that. But I didn't agree with that. So here they are hitting people, and I start getting negative responses from the internet. Why are you taking people down? I'm not doing any of that. And I even showed later, years later, my whole copyright page, and you know, where it shows what videos you've claimed. I never claimed any of those videos. That was all Machinima doing it through their network page, not me. Okay? So Rich had done the Canadian $10 super chat asking, what was I watching? I don't know. Like, I was probably just watching a random website that, you know, it wasn't anything in, you know, that I saved up or special. It's so weird, because people ask me that question over the years, and I jokingly say, oh, well, you see, whenever that I would do that, I would have all this giant elaborate stuff planned. So I would have candles that I would light throughout my office, right? And I would rub body lotion and oils on my body. I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay, we're totally gay. And then I would get aromatherapy going, and then I would get into it with a special video set. No, didn't do that. It was just a spur of the moment thing, all right? It wasn't intentional that everything was going to be made public. It wasn't, you know, planned out or anything. It was just a quick one, you know, just before my work day. So nothing special, okay? And that's the funny part. So my troll says, you live in a fantasy world. No, I actually don't. I live in reality. I live here in reality, where my life is great. I'm having a good time with my life. And every day is like a party. Seriously, every day when I come on stream, it's like a party atmosphere with my viewers. We're chilling, we're playing games, we're having fun, we're hanging out. My wife is the reason why I'm so happy. I'm getting support and having a great time every day. It's the miserable wretches on this planet that are jealous of that don't live in reality, because they can't actually see it for what it is. They actually have to cope and say, well, see, all this contributions Phil's getting today, they're fake. They're not real. And Phil's actually very miserable. He hates his life, and he hates... Yes, because a miserable person, right, it loses like 50 pounds in 3 years of changing their diet, working out well, having a great personal life. All the content is great and positive now. And yes, I am going to make money. I am going to ask for contributions, and you're going to like it, because I'm successful and you're not. I'm actually on 2 sites simultaneously streaming successfully. Where exactly, like, where's the cope coming from? You have to cope so hard to even think that anything about my life is bad. It's not. Everything's great. So, yeah, I'm living in a very positive reality now. 10 years later, things couldn't probably have improved any better. You know what I mean? See, here's the thing, Bog Patrol. This is the funny part about how YouTube works. Chances are, it likely, if we were to keep talking about it and keep, watching it in a loop, you could get demonetized. Because that's how stupid YouTube is. If you didn't know, this is something that I haven't talked about in a while. After it happened and I was rolling with it, right? And I was leaning into it and I was memeing about it. I actually wanted to make it an emo on Twitch. Did you know that Twitch rejected the emo and outright told me that if I used that on my streams, they were going to suspend me? I'm not kidding. They actually wrote me back and said, no, you denied, and if you use that on your streams, we will suspend you because that's considered like a sexualized piece of content. Now, I want you to think about that. That was 2016. And then right after that, what did Twitch do? They immediately started having the bathtub streamers, the hot tub streamers, all that horrible content, right? Over-sexualized nonsense. But they actually denied me the ability to use my own face as an emo on Twitch. You want to talk about a double standard, right? I mean, that's insane. And this is what I mean about Twitch, is that they are completely unfair with the way that they treat the people on the site. Someone like me can't even use his own face as an emo, but they can have those hot tub streamers for multiple years, and that was fine according to them. That's just absolutely insane. You know what I mean? So, but that's the thing, like, you can talk about it and stuff, but the thing is, there's a chance to get demonetized, and obviously I want to make money on my content. So that's why, if you notice, I have an emo on Kick. I don't have it on YouTube because YouTube, you can get demonetized for stuff like that, and that's why I'd rather not take the chance, you see? See, that's insane to me when people say that people say the entire thing was faked for clout. What? What clout? What clout do you think I would have gained from this entire thing exactly? Like, huh? What on earth are you talking about? It was literally a career-ending situation that if I didn't handle it right, I would have never been able to stream again, right? It's something that still to this day I'm never going to live down, and it will still live in infamy as my most embarrassing moment ever. How did that create clout? What clout? See, what it is there's people on the internet that are so pathetic that they actually think that any attention is good attention. That's wrong. Don't you remember a couple years ago when I was talking about Review Tech USA, what I said? What I said was as follows. Once you put the clown makeup on, it can never come off. So once you make yourself a public embarrassment, and that's what you focus on for your content, because you think that's the only way you can monetize stuff that you do, that means you will forever be that public embarrassment, and you'll never change, okay? So what on earth makes you think that that would have been something that I would have done thinking that that was going to benefit me? That's insane, okay? I'm not someone who is every day trying to do public stunts. I wasn't an IRL streamer that was doing pranks and escalating things. You know what I'm saying? I was a video game streamer. A video game streamer. All I wanted to do is sit here and chill with an audience and play games and commentate over them. So how on earth you think that that would have benefited me is a broken and mentally challenged thought. But again, there's some people who they don't have content. They don't even know how to make content or how to do anything anyone would want to see. The only content they could think of that they could make that people would get attention for is this kind of drama Lolcow shit. So maybe if you're a drama Lolcow loser, that's the only way you can get clout and attention for yourself. You would have thought, oh, that's a good thing to do. But that's not me. You know what I'm saying? Like, never was that ever anything that I sought to do. In fact, I was the antithesis of that. I was trying to tell everyone, no, I don't want to be a Lolcow. I don't want to lean into that kind of content. I just want to be a gamer. That's it. So that's why when you say shit like that, it mentally is mind-melting to anyone who's intelligent. Only dumb people would think that something like that would benefit them, you know? Then again, there's literally people who every single day, they turn on a camera, they turn on a stream, and they just destroy themselves, right? They're doing horrible things to their bodies. They're saying horrible things that ruin their reputation. They don't care as long as people send them money to do it. They just don't care. But that's not me. I'm in this for the long haul. Do you understand? Like, I love what I do for a living. I appreciate my audience. I want to provide entertaining, but also informative, meaningful, non-harmful content to the people who watch me and like me. Go fucking jump off a cliff. Therefore, it's not an any means necessary kind of deal when it comes to success for me. It's, I do have morals. I do have values. I do have lines I won't cross, and there's content I don't want to produce. It's not a, hey, do the most risque, ridiculous, over-the-top thing and then benefit from it. That's not who I am. If that were the case, I would have been one of the founders of Lolcow Live, and I would have taken the $50,000 from Keemstar, and I would have been on there and made bank to publicly embarrass myself. And for the record, no, I probably wouldn't have quit, because if I already swallowed my pride to do it, I'd probably still be there today running the whole fucking show, because that's the kind of guy I am, is that I'd be just running the whole network. I would have already taken control. I would have been business-wise, been running everything. That would have been me. It would have been DSP's fucking network. Sure, of course, Keem would have owned it, and I probably would have been doing the whole thing from behind the scenes, orchestrating it all. Because that's the kind of mind I have. Like, I get into something, I overwork it, and I just, you know what I mean? But I don't want to do that. I don't like Lolcow shit. I just want to do my own thing. I want to play games and have fun and make meaningful content that's not toxic, that's not embarrassing. You understand? Therefore, the incident 10 years ago didn't get me any clout that I would have ever wanted. It would have never benefited me. If you're a broken, loserish individual, perhaps then you think that that kind of clout is good. It's not. That's if you have no talent, then you think that that attention is good. Jadabhan says, would you want to do a show or podcast with other streamers, an actual serious show about games and stuff? Yes. Herein lies the problem with that, okay? There are people out there who do serious shows about games and topics and stuff, but they don't want me on the show, and it has nothing to do with me, because I reached out to people about a year and a half ago, again, when my popularity was coming back and positivity was coming back my way and I was getting attention again in a good way. I reached out to a big variety of people on the internet, okay? Big, small, in between, all right? For the people that responded, because not everyone responded, the answer was actually always the same. Wow, it's really cool to hear that you're branching out and you're trying to do content, because we were always under the impression you never wanted to do content with others. Wow, the thought of actually working with you and having a show going back and forth talking about topics is very interesting. However, we just can't take the heat. If we do content with you, your detractors are going to come harass us and stalk our audience and stalk us and our family members, and they're going to get all our information and post it up on fucking Kiwi farms, and we just can't have that. You know? We have our own positive thing going, big and small, because I talk to bigger people and smaller people, and it's the same impression is, even though that would be an awesome opportunity and a fun thing to do and probably would be popular, it's not worth the insane amount of harassment we're going to receive as a result of associating with you. And it's not you. It's those fucking weirdos that stalk you that are shutting down this opportunity. It's Tevin's fault. Just like over the years, whenever I try to get sponsorships or stuff like that, I can't, because immediately those people go and harass the sponsor, and the sponsor doesn't want that heat. They don't want to get their social media flooded with crap. They don't want to get 5,000 emails and comments on their videos saying, oh, you're working with DSP. They don't want that, right? So because of that, it's that simple. Now, there's a few exceptions to the rule. There are some people that are so big, like, for example, Asmongold. He's so big and already has, you know, drama and stuff associated with him. He's bulletproof to that shit. My detractors can go after him. He's already been doxxed. He already has all this shit out there. Who cares, right? So someone like him, he doesn't give a shit, right? But there's also other people like Lolcows, right? Wings of Redemption already gets harassed. He's already fucked with. So why does he care if he's going to come on a show and talk with me? It's not going to affect him in that, you know what I mean? He's not going to get increased trolling when he's already got maximum trolling. You see? So there are some exceptions, but sadly, it becomes insanely limited what I can do. I wish that I could right now go on any show and talk about gaming news and stuff like that. There's so much going on with gaming right now, and you've heard my opinions on my own podcast. But good fucking luck getting me to go talk to anyone else that has a presence on the internet, big or small, because they're afraid that they're just going to have it be ruined by public harassment by weirdos on the internet if they do anything with me. And their actual fears are justified. because there have been people who have done simple things with me who have been harassed as a result. So, yeah, I don't blame them. And there's not much I can really do about that, you know? I've been around for 18 years, longer than most YouTubers. I'm not quitting. I'm going to be here for a very long time. So I'm going to keep making this content. I have a huge history as being a YouTuber, a gamer. I can tell you about the history of games growing up, being a gamer my whole life. I can tell you about the history of arcades and that whole culture of the 1990s. I can tell you about the history of the grassroots fighting game community and how they were up and coming and holding tournaments and things with absolutely no sponsorship or help from Capcom or anyone, and how for over a decade, these people kept gaming afloat until finally the money came. I can tell you about all the controversies in the fighting game community and all the things that happened behind the scenes that were swept under the rug and no one wants to talk about because we all want to pretend like everything was all squeaky clean when in reality, it actually was pretty bad for a long time. Okay? I can tell you about what it's like to be a YouTuber full-time. How YouTube has changed over the years, and their simple little changes to the algorithm and the site have completely destroyed businesses and caused ups and downs in popularity for people, even though they're just making the same content. I can tell you about all kinds of controversies and things that have happened on YouTube over the years. Copyright issues, you know, content ID claims, the interactions that I've had with YouTubers, small-time YouTubers who ask me for advice and now are 10 times bigger than me. Okay? I could talk about all this stuff. Guess who wants to talk about all that? Because instead, the only people who will try to associate with me want to talk about drama because that's what gets the views on YouTube. You know what I mean? Those people who talk about game news and stuff, to have me on the show would get them a boost, and then immediately toxicity would flow through the door after the fact with all these fucking weirdos. Right? There's no way for me to cut the cord on the weirdos, even though I've changed, and I'm not doing the things that created that weird black crowd above my head that follows me around. The cloud won't dissipate. You know what I mean? Like, it's there now and it's stuck, and it won't fucking go away because these people are no-lives who actually have nothing to fucking do all day, and they're so used to harassing DSP and everyone around him, they've got nothing better to do with their fucking time. And a lot of these people have turned it into profitable business models that they don't want to abandon because they think that it's their gravy train forever, which is fucking pathetic. Nope, I was never offered an interview with Moist Critical. Nope. Moist Critical kept talking about me, and I publicly stated, if he wants to keep talking about me, he should talk to me. Rather than watch my highlight clips and Detractor clips and shit, he should talk to the real person, because then he'll actually find out the truth about me. And he refused to do that. He literally publicly said, oh, I don't do interviews or nothing like that. Like, oh, so you make fun of people, but you don't talk to them. Does that sound fair? So then, years later, when exactly the same thing happened with Asmongold, I called him out on it. We had an interview, and after the interview, it went incredibly well. He actually enjoyed it and was like, wow, that's cool. And ever since, things have been good in that regard, you know, but that's because he gave me a chance. So, yeah, if you stop just watching toxic shit on the internet, guess what? Not everyone will be toxic. You see? But that's it. It's a whole culture of fucking toxic-ass people who are cowards and sit there and throw stones from their own glass house and don't want to actually treat people fairly because they make money doing it. And it's sad and pathetic. It really is. Ladies and gentlemen, it is official. Are you ready for this? I have received a $100 tip, and this person says, long live the king. Cheers. Are you all ready? It has happened. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to Mega Bust Live. Thank you for an anonymous $100 tip, whoever that was. So, number one, I owe you a shot, because I said I would take a shot if we got a giant contribution, and we just did. So let me go ahead and take that shot, like I promised. So let's get our first shot of the day. Ooh, let me actually do this with a paper towel there in case it dribbles. I don't want to get it all over my setup. All right, so here is the real truth to all of this, folks. All right? 10 years ago, I had my most embarrassing moment, all right? In my life. Like, there will never be a more embarrassing moment than that, correct? It's behind me. And since then, right, there's been ups and downs, but the last few years has been nothing but up, right? Seriously, Things have been absolutely amazing and positive for many years now. I swear to not be that person that I used to be, the embarrassing slob, but instead to push forward with good, positive improvements and fun as much as I possibly can. As long as you're here along for that ride with me, then I think we're going to have... Thank you all, everyone, for allowing me to improve myself for the last decade. A decade of failure, more like a decade of improvement that you can see definitively every single day if you're not a retard. Thank you so very much, everybody. Salute. Oh, there's a tiny bit left. I didn't drink the whole thing.